Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Jets, and I'm here to talk about Week 12. This week's crippling, defeating, and embarrassing loss was Miami Dolphin flavored 34-13. And damn if that isn't a forgiving score, because it looked worse than that. I mean, this game really was more like 27-6. You might say, well, Weston, they both just got another touchdown, so is it really that bad? Yeah, no, it is that bad. They scored 6 points. Until it was absolute garbage time. And I'm not shocked in the least, because it's the Jets. And yeah, of course, they suck. I'm not shocked. And you might say, Weston, that's such a pessimistic and crappy way to watch football. I call it a realistic way to watch football, so I don't get cripplingly depressed every week. Only pretty upset and sad. Coming into the week, they bench Zach Wilson and they start Tim Boyle. And that was more so that was the only cog they could change on the engine that is the offense. And it's not even an engine anymore. It's just a pile of bolts that happen to be sitting there. No actual engine parts, just like a couple of bolts and a washer, really, if we're being honest. And whoever you want the bolts and washer to be, you can make it up. I don't care anymore. I can't be bothered. And a lot of people looked at that as well, maybe this is a way that it'll spark something. And I looked at it as, wow, it doesn't matter at all. Because here's the thing. Zach Wilson was a problem. He was not good. He looked like a bad quarterback to this point of the season. As far as NFL quarterbacks are concerned, keep in mind everything I say in this video when I am talking about an individual player is in reference to them in comparison to the NFL. Obviously, they're in the top 0.11111% of people in the world at this thing. It is with that context that I say Zach Wilson is not a good quarterback. And he was definitely a problem. Here's the thing. This offense just sucks. And it's to the point now where I really truly realize Rodgers was doomed this season. Even if he would have played a healthy year, I don't know what happens. I don't know that they were good enough to make the to make the playoffs, honestly. I don't know that for a fact. Look at it. They look so bad on offense. It's comical. The offensive, coming into this, you have Boyle starting. Cool. The problem is your receivers can't get separation. The running game can't get anything going as a mix of either A, Brees has maybe regressed a little bit, or B, the offensive line just freaking sucks. So that's in with the run game, but also the offensive line is just, awful. Comically awful. Maybe as bad as it's ever been. It might have gotten worse over the years. I understand the injuries have happened, but get a really big, probably injury-prone offensive lineman 11th overall in the draft, and then sign older offensive linemen who are, and I don't mean this in a mean-spirited way, but, very clearly in the twilight of their career, pushing 40, or in, I believe the case of Lincoln Tomlinson, over 40. I don't know, man. See what happens. And then bring in Nathaniel Hackett, who, again, it's frustration building up. And a little hyperbole, I don't understand how he has a job in the NFL. I really don't. Nothing changed. It's the same game plan every single week. It's just square pegs and round holes every single week. Nothing is imaginative. And it goes on again. The Dolphins didn't particularly play good in this game. They looked so half speed, and they still beat you by 21. They looked like they didn't try, and they beat you by 3 scores. Can you fathom how pathetic you are? Can you fathom how bad that is? And people are talking about the end of the first half, right? And this is where we get into what I believe should be the meat and potatoes of this game, which is the end of the first half and then into the future and just what this team is. Because people are saying, oh, and they said it on the broadcast of, oh man, that's the Jets right there. That is, if you had to sum the Jets up in one play, that's it right there. Was the pick six to end the first half. No. The actual way to describe the New York Jets season is the last minute and 10 seconds or thereabouts. Because the Dolphins are driving down, they're marching down the field, and there's a pick six, right, by Brandon Eccles. And that's the start of it, is the Jets defense, with seemingly anyone they throw out there. Brandon Eccles has been pretty solid as a Jet. I'm happy with him. I like him. If he sticks around for a while, cool. That'd be neato spaghetti, right? It's the defense throwing anyone out there, because he is not a household name outside of the Jets' households. Picking off, right, getting an interception, making Tua, who is having the best year of his NFL career, obviously in the MVP conversation, going to snag quite a few of the votes. Hell, maybe if he has a good run down the stretch, might even win the darn thing. Making him throw a rookie-style interception, and taking it back to the house for 6. Right? The defense, big play to make it seem competitive, because it was only, it was 10-0 at that point. You got to get something there. They can't get points before the half and then get the ball back. And then, on the next drive, I can't even get to the next drive, they missed the PAT. And I like Greg Zuerlein. I'm not trying to dunk on him. He is not the problem with this team at all. But that just echoed the truth of this team, which is it's the defense and the defense alone. There is no one else on this team. No coaching staff, no other side of the ball, and it's getting to the point where even the special teams isn't there for him. The defense is the only shot in hell this team has to win anything. And it's not just that they have to play really good, it's that they have to play possibly the most elite football that any unit could ever play and get takeaways, and those takeaways go for points. That's where they're at. They can't even get the PAT to help out their defense. Just even a smidge. Not even the thought of it. But you make it 10-6. Okay. If you can hold them, you're still down by a few and they're going to get the ball back. But that's a game. That's kind of a game you're watching. And then, miracle, you force Tua into another interception immediately on the next drive. How many teams in the NFL can force 2 turnovers on back-to-back drives in a minute against an MVP caliber quarterback? How many? And you let Tim Boyle sling it after he runs around for a second, and it was Holland. I feel like a jerk because I forget his first name, but I'm going to find it, so I'm not that guy. And I've seen Javion Holland. As many receiving touchdowns as like 90% of the Jets this season. Good for him. Cool. Proud of you, bud. I've seen anywhere from 99 to 101, somewhere around the goal line, like directly on the goal line. Holland picks it off. And every Jet player, aside from maybe Tim Boyle and Breece Hall, stop trying. The receivers in the end zone do not try to catch back up with him. They think the offensive line will do something. The offensive line just kind of lumbers towards him. Boyle can't get an angle. Hall can't get an angle. It's a 99 to a 100-yard pick six. What is it technically in the game score on the Jets app? I want to find that real quick. 99-yard pick six. The Dolphins go up 17-6 at halftime. That is the Jets in a nutshell. It's even when things look like they might go right, they are catastrophic in the other direction. The offense can't do a damn thing, and the defense is alone. Totally alone. And then you go to the second half, and they just look bad. They hold them to only a field goal in the third quarter, but they just can't get anything going. There was a pair of Mostert touchdown runs. The second one, obviously, to end the game, no one tried. The first one in the fourth quarter, no one tried. And I can't even get mad at the defense's lack of effort late in games. Because are you watching? Are you honest to God watching this offense? It's unbearable. And there was the fight that broke out with the defense. Clemens ended up getting ejected. There are a few different moments in this game where the team continues to take dumb, stupid penalties that, don't worry, guys, don't worry. Saul is going to tell us in the postgame. I didn't watch it. I don't care to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to hear any more of the empty, meaningless words that anyone in some stupid jet polo is going to echo to me to try to make me feel better following this. I don't want to hear any of it. But surely to say, you know, oh, we're playing football that can be cleaned up. We're playing football that can be cleaned up. Or hear that the offense is going in the right direction because, hey, they had a touchdown when the other team gave up, when they weren't trying. They were playing to not get injured. And here's the thing for me that really needs to be echoed through. Because you have the Hail Mary that goes for a touchdown for the Dolphins to end the first half. Before the fourth quarter started, we get hit with the chyron on screen. From the butt fumble to the Hail Mary. Making a joke because we live in hell. That was the point for me. Of when it just, yes, this is it. This is it. You could tell the way the Dolphins were playing. Not just the play calling, but from the way players treated things. The body language that Tua had after the second pick. The body language that, I think it was Mostert for the Dolphins. I could be wrong. It might have been Evans, the running back. When they fumble it and the Jets recover, Ashton Davis on the recovery. When they just look unbothered by a turnover in their own territory, like close. And they're just like, huh, that sucks. No one respects you. No one in this league respects you. And that's correct. That's right. They're right. You haven't earned it. When the broadcast, before the game is even over, when it's still active, when you're still technically in the game, like it's close-ish, is showing literal memes of you. Like live. Not some like garbage thing that some random intern came up with on the fly. Where it's just some corny thing. No, like an actual meme page. And they're showing it on the broadcast. No one respects you. No one thinks a damn thing of you. And it used to bother me when I was younger. You know, of like, oh, come on. Like, you're punching us while we're down. You know, these things, they're just very unlucky. A lot of times, you know? I mean, how are they supposed to know that this is going to go wrong? Or that's going to go wrong? Or this is going to happen? Or that's going to happen? I'm past it. You don't deserve any respect. You don't deserve respect from anyone in this league, from anyone who talks about this game. No one. No one. Because I'm sick and tired of this team just kind of getting away with it. It's 13 years. You haven't made the playoffs since 2010. You haven't had a winning season since 2015. And as close as I hold the memories of 2015 in my heart, by the way, which is a pathetic statement, just so we're on the same page, that's pathetic. That I hold a season where they missed the playoffs in high regard. Like, that's, oh God, that was such a fun year. I go back and watch highlights of that. Like, I'll be sitting around thinking of like, oh man, Eric Decker was fun. And then I'll look up a game from 2015. They missed the playoffs because they lost a win and get in game with like, 4 picks from Fitzpatrick. Still one of the best quarterbacks we've ever had because he had one good season. Like, I just need you to comprehend that fact. Like, you've been nothing. You've done nothing of value in years. You have not played a genuinely meaningful game in a decade. Over a decade. And it's just, I don't know what I want to have happen. Because this isn't in the past where I want a coach fired, or I want a coach to be moved on from, or I want them to stick with a player or a GM or what have you. Whatever happens is going to happen. And it'd be cool if you stuck around with the guys that are there. I would like for Saleh to work out because he seems like a cool dude. I would like Joe Douglas to work out because I think he's made some smart decisions. But with every passing game, I question that more and more, if he's actually made the good decisions or if he's just kind of lucked into it. And if they stay, whatever. If they get fired, good. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve to stick around this long without having to pay dues to what you've come into. Like, they made fun of the position. Saleh made fun of what Maccagnan did. Talking about how when Douglas got there, it was an expansion team. Maccagnan had an above 500 record one time. You've never come close to that. You as an organization have never even sniffed 10 wins. You barely sniffed 500. The only 2 times that you were even close to that was in 2019, where you had literally one of the easiest halves of the schedule of all time and managed to luck into going 6-2. With every passing day, that feels more and more like luck. And last year, where the defense was great, but the offense obviously sucked, and yeah, you had 7 wins, but you were still 3 games below 500 because of the new game that they added. And you're making fun of that guy for building an expansion team? Really, guys? That's what we're doing? You can't even touch the highs that he's had. Even remotely. Like, you've had time. And I'm sick of this team just getting told, like, I agree that certain things have happened to this team that you cannot account for. But there are 31 other teams that are dealing with the same volatile, unpredictable, and difficult sport than you are. They're dealing with the same thing. There are 32 teams in the NFL. And since the last time that you played playoff games, all 32 other teams have figured it out. Even if you want to say, well, this team just kind of lucked into it, man. They figured it out. They figured it out. And you can point to things of, well, what about this injury? They figured it out. What about the time that you had 10 wins, but you just missed it because sometimes you got to win 11. I don't make the rules. Sometimes when everybody else wins 10, if you want to be there, you got to win 11. That's just the way it works. And it just... I have no clue what they do. I really don't. Because I don't think any direction is right. And I think every direction is wrong with this team going forward. That's the part where I think I've sunk into. Because, and this feels like end of season video vibe, and there's still 6 more games. Still 6 more games after this, guys. Month and a half left. And this is how the fan base is. Like, if you keep everyone aboard and you say, run it back, we'll have Rodgers. Offensive linemen will come back from injuries. Go for it next year. You're going to have 1 to maybe 2 years where Rodgers is actually competitive. 1 to 2. You can't restart. You spent too much to restart. Like, Rodgers is starting for the New York Jets next year. And I want to be excited about it. I really do. That's an incredible thought. Because I remember how giddy I felt, how excited I was, and just the genuine childlike wonderment I had on that Monday night when he walked out there, when I left the school that I work for early, when I dipped out and got home as quick as I could because I just wanted to soak it in. And so I want to be happy about it, but I know that it comes with all of this. I know that it's going to come with Hackett, and you might say, well, he's going to fix what Hackett does. Then why do you need him? Then why is he there? Why can't you get someone that might be able to help him more? You can't have another season like this, because you had it last year where you go 7-4 to start with and you lose the final 6 games. You started out 4-3. Now, were those 4 wins convincing? No, they weren't. You had a miracle against Buffalo. You had the BS Broncos game where it was more so they just kind of both exchanged tripping over feet. You had the Eagles game where, let's get something abundantly clear, the Eagles beat the Eagles. You just happened to be on the field while it happened. And the Giants game where it was 2 of the worst offensive games that any teams have had in the history of the NFL, and they happened to be going against one another when it happened. And now you've lost every game since that Giants game. You've lost 4 in a row. And I look at the schedule, I don't see where you're going to get any more. Not for sure. Maybe you get one against the Falcons. Maybe you get one against the Browns. Those are 2 big maybes. Play the Dolphins again, they're going to kill you. Because that one's even going to be in Miami. Play the Patriots at the very last game of the season, they're going to kill you. Play the Commanders. I don't trust you against them at all. You play the Texans, that's going to be a laugher. Hey, Texans fans, from the Astros stuff that I do here, yeah, you guys are going to kill us. Like, at that point, the defense might have completely given up. Stroud's going to throw for Christ knows how many yards. I just... It's insane to me that we're going to see back-to-back seasons where it's distinctly possible you start the year, like, deep into the year. Not 1-0 or 2-1, but, like, legitimately deep into the year, above 500, and then lose out. And no one's going to have a head roll. Everyone gets to stick around because of the promise of Aaron Rodgers. And what's funny is, like, I don't even feel that I've said everything I have to say about this team and about this game, but I'm 25 minutes deep into a video for week 12. Like, not even a meaningful week. And I'm not speechless. Like, that's the thing. I've felt speechless in the past where I've had to dig deep to get emotion for this team. I don't. I'm mad as hell. Because it's the same garbage every year. And even when you're promised that it's going to change, it's right back. Who do you start next week? I don't know. I don't care. I think it would be kind of funny if you have to go crawling back to Wilson. I really do. I think that would be comical. If you have to make Saleh and Hackett and anyone else involved have to go after benching him, after then in the press conference kind of dragging him a little bit. Saleh especially talking about, like, well, what do you do with Wilson? We'll deal with it in the offseason. You know, how did you feel about it? I had my opinions during the drafting, and I don't want to discuss it. I told Joe Douglas my thoughts about that. And then it would be so funny for him to have to go back and tell him you're back in. That would just be hat in hand to go back to him. Just delicious. Maybe you're with Trevor Siemian. I don't know. There's no team like the Jets, ladies and gentlemen. There is just no team like them. You play next week. You're at home in MetLife. 1 o'clock, the Falcons come to town. I don't know. I really don't. 26 minutes on a game that literally doesn't matter at all. Nothing more Jet YouTuber than that. If you somehow, some way, whether it be from laughing at a Jets fan's pain or cathartic listening and almost a expelling of the demons, Jets fans, I know that that's kind of what it's like when I watch our guys. Please consider to like and subscribe if you somehow enjoyed this. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, until next week, go Jets.